It is Wednesday, October 12th, 7:55 p.m. Week 5 in the books. What a week it was. We are returning our host, Z, who was fighting hurricanes in Florida, and we have guest London Bridge. I'm playing London Bridge this week, and he's already talking shit. So we'll get into it. Everyone just tune in, chill out, and let the good times roll.
Welcome into the DNZ Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Zach, and I'm joined, as always, with my fellow LOC league mates, Drake and Nick. And as Nick so kindly pointed out, we are joined today by recurring guest, Blair, also known as the London Bridge. Welcome in, Blair.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. Welcome in.
And just a point of clarification, I was not fighting off hurricanes. I don't want to make it sound like I was doing anything good while in Florida. I was sitting on the beach, drinking, reading books, having a great time, losing in fantasy. But
there were some people in need while you were drinking down there.
There sure were. I didn't want to go through that with I didn't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Everyone needs some time to relax. Good for you.
I know. I feel bad that you weren't on the pod last week because we were a little kind of dogging you through the matchups and stuff. So I'm glad you're here to defend yourself. And
there's nothing to defend, and actually I kind of prepared a little statement for myself. I have the worst team in the league. I'm just going to self-proclaim that.
Damn, already? You're claiming that?
I'm claiming it. I feel like I have some of the best players, most dynamic players in fantasy football, and I don't know if I'm just a bad manager, what it is. I just get blown out. I can't score points. I'm bad. It is what it is, so I'm just going to put it out there now.
Yeah, we'll certainly get to your matchup, obviously, and see what went wrong, what went right for you, as well as every single other matchup here in LOC this week. So go through a quick injury report. These are just the new injuries that have popped up. Rashad Penny, broken fibula. He's out for the season. It is Kenneth Walker time, baby.
It's time.
And I'm pretty excited, and I wish I had a little bit more Kenneth Walker on my teams all across redraft and dynasty. Don't have a single share. I think I sent out some feelers last week before the Penny injury to see, and I wasn't able to pull the trigger, and still trying to make some deals here right now, but it's going to be hard to trade for K-Walk, especially when he breaks off that big run like he did last week. Just he's looking good. And another injury to a starting running back, Damian Harris. He's likely to miss multiple games after suffering a hamstring injury. He was limited in practice on Wednesday, so I guess maybe he's back a little sooner than originally expected, but something to monitor, and it's Mondre season, baby. I'm freaking excited. I know Mondrosaurus Rex over here.
Fucking hope so. Jesus Christ.
Hell, I'm
Needed
excited.
it.
Dude was the unloved RB1 in college. Dude went absolutely off his last year at OU, missed the first 6 games because he smoked the weed. But this dude is a beast. I've been excited for him for years now.
I feel like you got to raise him up your rankings if you've smoked weed in the past.
True.
And he was really good this week. He had 19 fantasy points. We'll definitely mention him. Another starting running back, James Conner, injures his ribs in the first half and didn't play a whole lot after that. Cardinals add Tyson Williams and Corey Clement to the practice squad after finishing Sunday's game with only one healthy running back. Darrell Williams is expected to miss week 6, so they've got Eno Benjamin and a bunch of practice squad nobodies. So definitely fire up Eno Benjamin if you've got him. And another big injury, Darren Waller. And it really sucked because he got injured early in the game and put up a goose egg. And he injured his hamstring Sunday night, missed most of the game. So definitely something to monitor. Tyreek Hill was wearing a walking boot after Sunday's game. He was stepped on, but was a full participant in practice on Wednesday. And then your boy, Nick's boy, I guess I should say, Baker Mayfield, suffers high ankle sprain, expected to miss some time. PJ Walker to start in Carolina.
Brutality.
Complete shit show in Carolina. And that's the top of the news section. Panthers fire head coach Matt Rule. Is this a fire sale now? I mean, CMC, DJ Moore, all possibly on the trade block. Like, do we think we'll see some deals done for those guys this season?
Dude, I think we will, because the owner of the Panthers, he made this a point. Aren't they the most recent team to have been bought by someone? I believe they are.
It might be the Broncos now, but it was recent.
Yeah,
well,
Carolina was recent.
Broncos are for sale, but I think the most recent purchase was the Panthers. I think you're right there.
Yeah, and their owner, the dude who just bought the Panthers, he's a former Wall Street dude. He's obsessed with numbers. No one's doing more analytics than Carolina, and we're kind of seeing is that going to work? Is that going to not? They're doing analytics off the game field as well. Most teams are, should we go for it? Do we kick a field goal? They're doing draft picks. They think they have some kind of model. It obviously hasn't proved to work. But with those numbers they're using, I bet you that does send a lot of these dudes on their way. They're going to crunch some numbers, let the nerds get into it, and they're going to be getting rid of pretty much that whole team and launching what might be the world's longest rebuild.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Ben McAdoo still staying there, being the offensive coordinator, calling the plays? Like, what do you guys think about that? Him staying there, and Matt Rule getting kicked. What do you think?
They'll probably keep him through the end of the season. You don't see like an entire just coaching staff get fired mid-season. And I think that's kind of my biggest thing with seeing trades for like CMC and DJ Moore. It's it's not like baseball or basketball where you see players get traded away mid-season. Like you're trying to make those acquisitions. Like you really only see like veterans who are on like veteran minimums get cut or get traded for like those 5th, 6th round picks towards the trade deadline. You don't see people trying to make deals. I think the last one that I can remember would have been the deal for Jalen Ramsey. Way back when the Chiefs were really wanting him. And then obviously the trade for, and this is a little bit closer to home for the Chiefs fans, Marcus Peters. That was a mid-season trade that was kind of out of nowhere, wasn't it? Or was that in the offseason?
Or we traded him away.
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
I think it's very rare that you see players traded away. I think you see it the most in quarterbacks, but I still feel like that's all done in the offseason just because it's so hard to get a player acclimated to plays and all of that kind of stuff.
But I mean, Carolina, they should answer every single phone call.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
absolutely.
I mean, apparently the Bills are interested in CMC. I mean, plenty of teams need a running back. I mean, I think it would be hard for them to part with CMC, but I don't think it's off the table whatsoever.
If you're the Panthers, I mean, and the Bills are interested, what are you looking to get for CMC? Because
a lot.
Because it's not like fantasy, and
I mean, it had to be similar to the Tyreek Hill trade. You need a first-round pick and then just a handful of others.
See, I would disagree with that. I mean, wide receivers have more longevity than running backs do, at least in the present NFL. You can see receivers going well into their 30s. It's very rare to see running backs stay,
especially with such a fragile running back in CMC.
But yeah. CMC is very receiving capable.
Absolutely.
That's it. He could fit into any
I think
any
the fragility
offense.
Is a little overhyped.
He's already been hurt this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's not serious, though.
He hasn't missed time.
Not yet.
I think the fragility is overhyped. This dude's been productive as hell when he's on the field on one of the worst teams. They got no O-line. They have Baker Mayfield. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. But it's not a good situation, and this dude's still putting up numbers. If you put an O-line in front of this dude, he is RB1. He might do some whatever the fuck Debo did last year and just be like, RB1 and wide receiver 9.
He is currently a top 5 running back. And, I mean, he's still going to be good, even though how dog shit the Panthers are. But, I mean, DJ Moore, if you're a DJ Moore owner, you better hope he gets traded.
Hell,
because
shut
literally
him down.
You're getting nothing from DJ Moore if he's in Carolina.
I don't think...
I want to say shut down CMC. As a matter of fact, they should deal him. They should shut him down and let teams know they're shutting him down just to keep him fresh. We want to give everyone else a good player. You're going to give us a good deal. You want to tank.
You can't just eat that contract though.
Their biggest problem is
sometimes you got to do what you got to do. They're in a bad spot.
They have no draft picks next year. I don't know what the number is, but they need picks. So they should be making moves. In other news, Davante Adams, we all saw what happened after the Chiefs game. we do want to talk a little bit about that Chiefs game here in length as well. But Davante Adams charged with a city ordinance violation. So not quite a misdemeanor. Apparently, it's a fine of $250 to $1,000 or up to 180 days in jail or both. So that's the legal situation that he's dealing with. The league is reviewing the situation themselves. So Adams does have a bye week this coming week in week 6. So it's certainly possible that they can kind of drag their feet with this decision and we won't know a whole lot. But how did you guys feel about that Davante Adams deal?
Completely avoidable. Like, I think we were talking about this pre-pod. All he had to do was shove him, not all, like, obviously, number one, you just don't shove a guy to the ground. But I mean, even after it, you get caught in the emotions, fine, whatever. But he legit looked at him for like 2 seconds, and then like did the fucking Kobe step over.
Oh yeah, especially when they catch all of it on video, makes it so much worse for him.
Primetime game.
But yeah, he's gonna get a fat fine and probably at least a 1-game suspension, I would say.
Yeah, I think it's more so just something we can all kind of laugh at. That cameraman is going to get paid. I don't care what his fine is. That dude is going to get a sum of money from Devontae Adams. It's a funny video. He'll probably get a 1-game suspension, and it'll be a meme.
And the dude was just a freelance photographer for ESPN, I'm pretty sure. So it's not like he's like a Chiefs photographer, or plays for the Chiefs, or played for the Raiders.
Or even like an NFL-sanctioned photographer.
Yeah, this is just a random freelancer guy. I mean, he's got every reason to file a police report. And I mean, I think everybody and their mom would have done that. The tweets on Twitter afterwards with like how you would react to getting shoved by Devontae were fucking hilarious.
Hey, for all you camera people that might be perusing the sidelines of an NFL game, take notes. Take notes. That dude's going to be rich.
Yeah, if they're pissed off, just cut in front of him really quickly and you might get a couple million.
Don't make eye contact. Just try to trot right across. Hope you get laid out.
I saw he kind of looks like Hunter Renfrow, the guy who shoved, so people were thinking
probably
he
thought it was Hunter. Yeah, he
Hunter
probably thought it was Hunter.
So we know how that game ended. But my last thing here for the news, and before we get to the Monday night Chiefs versus Raiders reaction, is bye weeks are coming. They're here now, and they're going to be steady here for a while.
Yeah, who's on bye this week? I know the Titans are.
Look ahead if you haven't already. Figure out who you're going to be missing, because depth on your roster is going to be super important here with the bye weeks coming up. So just wanted to mention it. But that Monday night game, I think the DNZ, all of us were there, and it was a very good game to go to. I didn't quite expect it to be that close. I mean, I figured we were going to be covered the spread by more than 1 touchdown, but I don't think I've ever had this much fun booing at a game before. It was literally so much fun, and we were down 17-0. But nobody was fucking worried.
No, you wouldn't have guessed being like if you were to walk into that stadium at halftime, you wouldn't have guessed we were down by more than a touchdown or a field goal. Like the fans, like you said, were so into it. We literally like that happened right before halftime.
It was only a few minutes left before half.
Right, and so like you booed the entire time. They came out, did the halftime show. I want to touch on that for a second. That halftime performance was the tribute to not tribute to cancer, but like the cancer thing.
She killed it though, didn't she?
I was bawling.
Is that what you were gonna say?
I was bawling my eyes out.
She was really good.
So sad. Like Gage and I were there, and I think both of us had a tear in our eye. It was so sweet. It was so cool.
The paratroopers at the beginning coming down with the
one
flags.
Ate shit, bro. Do you see that girl eat shit?
Yeah.
Oh,
it was like the second to last one that came down.
She fucking ate it.
And everybody was just like quiet. Kind of.
She
the whole
stood
stadium
there, too.
Like they were mid chopping. It was like, oh, ooh.
She was slow to get up. Nobody was running to her aid either.
She just stood there and was like slowly undoing her parachute.
The other dudes were just sitting there hoping she was going to get up, I guess. Nobody was running towards to help her, but she hopped up, I guess, and was fine. But that was pretty cool. I hadn't seen that before at Arrowhead. I think they did that essentially instead of some type of flyover.
Paratrooper.
But I mean,
sick.
I think the biggest takeaway, other than the penalty and the roughing the passer and how the NFL is going to handle this from the foreseeable future, is Travis Kelce the best tight end ever? I think this is a fact, if it wasn't already. Dude had 4 touchdowns with 25 receiving yards. That is a new record for lowest receiving yards with 4 touchdowns. The previous record was Edelman. No, it was Amendola. Danny Amendola had 60 yards and 4 touchdowns. So this record's never going to be broken. It's a weird record, but, I mean, they were beating the shit out of Travis Kelce. Double coverage. They were pressing him all game long. Like, you would just watch him. He had 2 guys over him get knocked down. And obviously he didn't have a ton of yards, but dude still gets 4 tutties, man.
It doesn't matter. You see that guy moving at the line of scrimmage, and I mean, he even got called for an illegal formation because he was already, moving forward before the play snaps.
Yeah,
but I mean, he's just a wizard on the line of scrimmage. I mean, him and Mahomes just see it. He sees those zones. It doesn't matter. Yeah, like you said, double cover and play a zone. That dude is gonna be open every time.
I think his route running is very underrated, especially in the red zone. Like we said, like him and Pat are just so in sync. Like they can call like a slant, and like they'll just like look at each other and recognize what the coverage is, and like that slant's immediately becoming like a slant out. and they like just have that with one another. There's very rarely any sort of miscommunication there.
And Andy Reid draws it up so well in the red zone. I mean, I think Mahomes has like 11 passing touchdowns in the red zone this year, which would be good for like 4th or 5th total touchdowns in the league so far.
I was just about to bring that up. Yeah, it's 4th.
I mean, on that 4th touchdown that Trav had, Dan Orlovsky was talking about it on NFL Live, and they brought Fortson in motion, and Trav was on the line of scrimmage right next to the tackle, like full on looking like he's blocking. They bring over Fortson, and Jonathan Abram, the safety for the Raiders, he was pointing to Trav saying, I'm on Trav. Fortson motions over, and all of a sudden they've got guys moving over. They realize it's man. They're all kind of confused, and Jonathan Abram has his eyes in the backfield. It's a play action. And he just doesn't even, like, he was pointing to Kelsey before the play, and the play starts happening, and he's got full-on eyes in the backfield, and nobody was guarding Travis on his 4th touchdown. Mm-hmm. Nobody. It really was Jonathan Abrams' guy, and, I mean, we all know Jonathan Abrams, and he just fucks up sometimes, quite often, especially against the Chiefs. Raiders gonna Raider. But I thought that play was really interesting, just hiding Travis Kelsey on the line of scrimmage, showing run. I mean, it's unreal that he gets that wide open.
It really is.
But Andy Reid just draws it up every time.
At some point, especially now, I mean, in the past, he definitely had Tyreek that everyone wanted to focus coverage on there. But it's not like we have some dominant dude that's commanding the attention of the defense, like all of it. Travis is that dude, and it's just weird that he's always open. I don't understand it. I don't know why they don't. Is it just because it's a tight end? They're just not used to it, that there's a tight end that is the wide receiver one.
That one touchdown where he had the 2 stiff arms.
How is he not double coveraged every fucking play?
The 2 stiff arms, it's just like, it looks so impossible to tackle him. He's good, man. Best tight end ever.
He just appears, all of a sudden he's wide open. It's not like he's way faster than the dudes covering him. It's just bizarre. They just don't want to get close to him.
I think the one takeaway week over week for the Chiefs before we face the Bills, even though the Bills don't have a very good run game, was the only thing I saw concerning from the Chiefs was just Josh Jacobs. I mean, that guy was an absolute animal.
My God.
21 carries for 154 yards, not even including receiving. Man almighty, that guy was an animal.
Running hard.
Absolutely.
He needed that game, too. He hasn't really been lighting it up this year.
There was a couple plays that's like, if we didn't tackle him or shoestring tackle him here, he's still fucking running.
For sure. Yeah. The safety hit him twice on big runs that we saved.
Justin Reed was earning that fucking paycheck.
Did you see him get plowed over by Jacobs? You see his tweet after? He's like, I'll do it.
Still made the tackle.
I said, whatever it takes. I love that from him.
Well, you can compare that. Like, yeah, he got plowed. Like, he got trucked. He made the tackle. But, like, you watch that, and then if you watch the Saints game from this past Sunday, and I don't know if anyone else saw it, but Tyrann Mathieu had one of those business decisions.
On DK?
Yeah, where the DK, like, they could have made the tackle at, like, the 6-yard line, and Tyrann just like, nope.
Major business. But yeah, thank God no Tyrann back there making business decisions. Mm-hmm. And Justin Reed was the one who stopped Jacobs on that 2-point conversion that the Raiders just wanted to fucking go to. Apparently they decided before the drive started, like, hey, if we score a touchdown, we're going for 2. Why the fuck did they end up losing by 1? You should have kicked the fucking field goal.
Risky call.
Raiders. I mean, in hindsight's 2020.
Hey, I take back he needed that game. Looks like dude went off last week too. So
he's got 30 plus points 2 weeks in a row. He's might be one of the best values in redraft this season. One thing I just want to mention from this game as well, do the Chiefs have the best comeback quarterback ever?
Well, yeah, I think that's pretty much already.
No lead is ever safe from Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. Was this his biggest regular season comeback win?
Yeah, because the Texans was a down 17
that's
as well.
Postseason.
So
that was postseason.
Yeah, that was postseason. So you're right. So that's 2 games though. Was that last year or the year before?
But 2 years ago.
Yeah, nonetheless, 2 years ago, 2 games down 17. And it's just
never a doubt.
It's cool being a Chiefs fan knowing like I'm not really worried.
Right, it's insane.
We're good.
3 years ago.
It's insane.
Wild.
Yeah, nonetheless.
And through 5 weeks, KC has the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL, 32 points per game.
One thing I wanted to touch on.
No Tyreek.
Kind of adding on to this.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about, at least with Chiefs fans, like obviously having no Tyreek. Travis is probably going to be the only fantasy viable outside of Patrick Mahomes. I just pulled up the stats. So Juju Smith-Schuster is on pace for about 750 yards, give or take. and MVS is on pace for about 775 yards.
Love it.
Like we have
Not from a fantasy standpoint.
right. So we have two receivers borderline, like they're one game away from like just one big game each, away from having like 800 yards each. And then I don't know, I can look at Cole's stats as well.
I think 9 different players caught a pass from Mahomes on Sunday night.
Yeah.
Mikol is hitting up randoms on Twitter. He does not care.
Dude,
about
I saw that.
contributing to
That was
this
so
offense.
fucking funny.
He's out here shooting his shot on Twitter in front of the world.
Bro, he said, "Why didn't you follow me back?" And she goes, "Just did." And then he goes,
No,
"You
you
still
didn't."
ain't following me." Oh my god, dude's.
But we got the
thirsty.
Bills next week coming to Kansas City. I wish they would have flexed it to Sunday night, but I guess we've got the afternoon game on Sunday against the Bills. It's on CBS, I believe. I think they really wanted to protect the game. That's why it maybe didn't go to Sunday night.
For my health, I'm glad they're not going to flex it because yesterday sucked.
Oh, I
my
agree.
brain did not work.
I feel like I still couldn't hear properly.
Nope. Brain didn't work. Stuck in the parking lot. It took me over an hour to get home.
Mm-hmm.
And people were talking on social media that it might have been louder.
I think it was.
The decibel
yeah.
levels might have been the loudest recorded.
Yeah, no, if we had the Guinness people out there, this is what actually my manager told me at work. He thinks if the Guinness people were out there, we would have broke our own record. He said it was loud.
The full DNZ was out there. I was screaming all fucking game.
Yeah, I
We
was
were
doing
on
the
all
whole-
levels, too. Drake's in the middle. I was lower. Zach was up top, so hitting that noise from all angles.
It was funny. The dude next to me, he was.
Contributing.
I said what's up when I sat down next to this guy, and he was fairly quiet for most of the game. But after that penalty, this dude was screaming his head off. Everybody's got to get involved at Arrowhead. That's how it goes. But Bills next week. A couple good news with practice and injured guys coming back. Looks like Trey Smith was a full participant this week. Trent McDuffie, our first-round pick, seems like he might be back. Same with Harrison Butker. He might be back. So need it. We just got one more week, I
Whatever
think,
his
until
name
Willie
is
Gay.
now.
Willie Gay's back, but
next week.
having those guys back for the Bills game is awesome. It's going to be the game of the week. Obviously, Chiefs versus Bills, Josh Allen, Mahomes. It's always must-see television. But I wanted to circle back to last week's pod. So what did you really confuse Harrison Butker's name?
You know what?
I was so confused.
Happened.
I wish we would have talked about that more.
This is why it's so hard being famous and having the most popular fantasy football podcast out there. We have to deal with so much. There's so many names, so many numbers. Sometimes things just fall through the cracks. I'm trying to deliver expert content to you guys. I hope you understand. So, yes, I called Nick Butker. See, I just did it again. I called Harrison Butker.
Where
Nick
is
Butker.
Nick coming from?
I don't know. It
Were you a kicker in your past life,
Came
Nick?
out of my brain.
I don't even know why he popped
He
up.
wasn't even kicking last week.
Yeah,
so
why did his name even pop up if he's not playing?
I would like to apologize. I can say that with my brain functioning half capacity at the time, I was thinking back to when Graham was like that last extra point.
Ryan Suckup.
In the Chiefs game.
That was Ryan Suckup. Blair
Right.
had the win.
Oh,
See, that
yeah.
probably
Man,
aided
that
into
still
it
gives
too
me chills.
because Suckup used to be a kicker here.
No, there's a lot of
So-
names that we talk about. I'm not fault. It was funny.
No excuses. You guys deserve better, but it's hard being famous.
But Matthew Wright did. I mean, he missed 2 kicks. We got lucked out on one with that holding penalty. But Matthew Wright, he hit that 59-yard field goal when the whole fucking stadium was saying "Ref, you suck" as loud as humanly possible. Still nails a 59-yard field goal.
Franchise
which is the
long.
longest field goal in Arrowhead history.
Did you see Tommy Townsend during that kick too?
He was telling everybody to
he's
shut the
going
fuck up.
nuts.
And nobody, we were so mad, bro. Everybody
One
was.
thing I want to point out: do you know how much time was left when Pat got the ball? 17 seconds.
No shit.
17 seconds to get into field goal range to score before the half.
easy.
Never
all kinds of time.
doubt. Well, Nick, fastest 2 minutes, baby. Are you ready to rock and roll?
All right.
I think you had a pretty good week
right,
here, so
all right.
let us know how did LSU turn out this week.
Well, I went 4-1. In our first matchup of the weekend, it featured the War Boys taking on the Jamario Bros. As I correctly predicted, the War Boys secured their first win over current projected champ Jamario Bros. This one wasn't even close, with Angry Josh throwing up 40 and Brees shouting, "Hey, Jamario Bros, you need a hall pass." Get it? Brees Hall. Jamario Bros know one thing for certain. I was, am, and always will be the Graham Slayer. War Boys 190, Jamario Bros 123. Moving on to our next matchup, which also was not close. We saw Lance Refrigeration retain his undefeated record, taking down Team RDC 22. It was a light week in scoring for the Fridge, but the Kyler Murray, Hollywood Brown, small man porn category continues to boom as they explore options on OnlyFans. Rich homie Saquon is officially back, and G. Yes Smith is emerging as a legitimate starter. Is the Fridge our new projected champ? Lance Refrigeration 149, Team RDC 22 89. Yikes. Yikes, RDC 22. In our next showdown, we saw JT and Company claim victory over the Sunshine Squad. West Coast Cup cooked up 28, but it was Gabe Davis and Lenny 69 combining for 72. Both players doubled any effort they've put forth thus far, and the Company might be questioning if that's sustainable. For now, they don't care. JT and Company 187, Sunshine Squad 138. Our next tilt, that was one for Jared. Soccer does tilts. Jared will like that. Our next tilt featured the Ramondra Raptors squaring up against the London Bridge. It was a wild scene with literal, not seen in millions of years, dinosaurs romping around the streets of England. Dinosaurs may look scary, but once you get to know them, you can easily defeat them in fantasy football. The bridge was just rebuilt, and behind the sweat of just 3 players, easily pushed the Raptors back to the brink of extinction. London Bridge 153, Ramondra Raptors 125. And rounding it all off in our final matchup, it featured the Galactic Empire losing territory against the rebellious Arrowhead Choppas. The Choppas heard the noise from national media and have responded with force. Dalvin cooked the Empire while Josh Jacob Morgan combined with confirmed felon Devontae Adams for 60 points. The Choppas still want that apology, and it's still not gonna come. Arrowhead Choppas 177, Galactic Empire 154. I won. I'm on the board. Puts my picks just real quick. We'll get to it later. I went 4-1. We're now 13-12. We're in the green, baby.
A very good week.
Green.
Very good week for you.
That'll win you money in Vegas.
Right on. 4-1 with your picks. I don't know if you'll have a better week than that all season,
dude,
honestly.
We're currently in talks with the biggest casinos in Vegas on opening up odds on our fantasy league. We'll keep you all posted on that.
Well, thank you, Nick, for your fastest 2 minutes. Let's get into the matchups. First, before we get into the matchups, I've got the rookie of the week, Breece the Beast.
My Breece.
Hall
pass.
He is here, and he's ready to take off. I mean, dynasty-wise, is he maybe the best dynasty running back to have on your roster right now?
As of right now.
Like, he's top 3 right now, for sure. I think you can lock and load that. But 18 carries on Sunday, 97 yards, 1 touchdown, and somehow had 100 yards receiving on just 2 receptions, and was brought down at the 1-yard line, I think, 2 different times. So this 27.7 point performance could have been much higher. I think Breece Hall is a cheat code along the lines of what CMC has done in his heyday. So I'm super excited about Breece Hall. Wish I had him in LOC, got him in another dynasty league, but Nick, War Boys, got to be thrilled with what Breece Hall is doing.
Dude, hell yeah. Are you
He's
kidding
currently
me?
RB9 on the season. Rookies are starting to finally, injuries are popping up. Rookies are figuring it out. I've got a decent list here for my honorable mentions. Dameon Pierce. He's one. He was
back
so close.
at it again.
Yeah, he's doing Dameon Pierce things. Like, he could have been the rookie of the week if we really wanted to. Kenneth Walker. We all know what Kenneth Walker's got in front of him. Chris Olave did in the game with a concussion and was out, but Chris Olave had a good game.
15.
Khalil Shakir had a fantastic game. George Pickens is really coming on. And Alec Pierce even had a really good performance. So nothing was better than Breece Hall, but rookies are really starting to get involved. And you love to see it, especially in Dynasty. We spent all offseason talking about these guys, watching these guys, trying to figure out who we were going to take, all that jazz, and it's fun to see.
I think that Jets team is going to be fun to watch for a little bit. They have a really good young nucleus with Breece, Garrett Wilson, and the Mormon.
I think I'm low-key a Jets fan, and I think after that game, they were the rookies, or some quote that came out.
Yes,
they were kind of just looking around at the rookie. They're like, holy shit, we've got some motherfucking players.
Which is what they said after the draft, and now they're all believing it too.
Yeah,
so.
Sauce is everything they could have imagined. And Garrett Wilson is everything they could have imagined. And now Breece Hall finally had his true breakout game. And if Zach Wilson can just not be shitty as fuck, the Jets should be decent year in and year out, you would think, with this young core.
And I feel like having the supporting cast will kind of help out with that. They also got a Jermaine Johnson, didn't they? They got him in the second round.
I saw he got banged up in that game, but he's been playing well. So
when was the last time the Jets scored 40 points? Legitimately. Does
no
anyone
idea,
know?
But
let us know in the comments.
Doesn't seem very Jets-like.
All our New York fans are really happy right now. Let us know, New York fans.
Yeah, Breece, the Beast, Hall, Michael Carter. We weren't ever worried about him, but he's been completely phased out as that RB1 in New York.
2018.
So let's hop into the matchups here.
Jets scored 48 in 2018.
Let's go through this. Lance Refrigeration, Team
Before
RDC.
that, it was 07. Sorry.
So Lance Refrigeration, 148 to Team RDC's 89 points.
Yikes.
Lance Refrigeration, I still had the lowest points in win this week, and it was a crazy week for fantasy this week. There was a ton of big plays. There's countless numbers of 40-plus point touchdown bonuses this week. There was a ton of scoring going on. Running backs seem to be back a little bit this week, outproducing the wide receivers, it seems, in week 5. But if you were able to get a win this week, I think you've got to be grateful. And really what led me, once again, is my
your OnlyFans
fabulous
account.
Geno Smith, and then the Hollywood Brown, Kyler Murray.
Yeah, don't sleep on your OnlyFans account, bro.
OnlyFans account is raking it in week in and week out. Saquon Barkley. Finally had a decent game from Dallas Goedert, 17.5 points. But, everybody would have beat Team RDC 22 this week.
Yikes, RDC 22.
We was the worst team and the underachiever of the week. His starting projection was 132. Only comes away with 89 points. And, I feel for him. He's got a ton of injuries he's dealing with. He now has to deal with the Waller injury, Damian Harris injury, and the McKenzie did have a concussion. I don't think that's a long-term problem, but stays dealing with injuries. He's still missing Dak, Hopkins, Keenan Allen, Michael Thomas, Elijah Mitchell, and his problem was he had 22.4 fantasy points from 7 different players. It's just never going to get done for you, and he's on a 2-game losing streak. Did have some good stuff from Jeff Wilson. He had Raheem Mostert on his bench, unfortunately, this week. Wouldn't have mattered, but not a lot of things going right for Team RDC. And glad my team isn't quite as banged up as his. Just not fun to deal with.
Is D-Hop, so he's got just one more week sitting out, right? Is that right?
This is last week sitting out.
Okay. Do you know how much I'm going to predict that dude to come back and be an animal? Because he ain't been hurt. He was taking steroids.
He's going to come back better than ever.
It was some sort of banned substance, but it's not like this dude was
like
banged
PEDs,
up.
Yeah.
It's not like he was hurt. He's not recovering from anything. He doesn't have to test anything out. This dude's going to be fresh as fuck going up against some corners that have already played 5 football games. Like this dude, I'm going to put him on.
The only thing that makes me hesitant about that is how weird the Arizona Cardinals have been this season. It's just been weird. And the vibes aren't very good. We'll see how long that coach sticks around. But
not very long.
DeAndre Hopkins, like you said, he's not coming off an injury. He's coming off PEDs. So when he's back out there, I think you can plug him in your starting lineup. No matter what
he's going to be fresh as fuck.
No one can deny the talent in Hopkins. I think that the problem we got with the Cardinals offense, at least I do, is they're just not balanced. All they can do is throw the football and everything runs through Kyler Murray, and it's just a really risky offense to have. You got James Conner, Eno Benjamin, Conner getting banged up and Eno being, the only really running back left. They have no run game. So you be a one-dimensional team, you set yourself up for failure there.
And they haven't scored a single point in the first quarter all season long.
Are you serious?
Not even a field goal,
Tough.
No touchdowns. So they automatically start in a game script that favors the wide receivers. So I don't think this is going to affect Hollywood Brown when DeAndre Hopkins comes back. I'm not looking to sell high on Hollywood Brown right now, even with I'm sticking with Hollywood Brown right now. He's wide receiver 6. Having Devontae Adams or DeAndre Hopkins come back, certainly is going to be a guy who's going to command targets. But I still believe in Hollywood Brown even with Hopkins back. Me and Blair, we made a trade over the offseason. My biggest goal with acquiring Hollywood Brown was to stack him with Kyler and get off to a hot start. 5-0, exactly what I've done. I love it. We'll see how much changes with Hopkins back. It'll certainly be different, but RDC could not get Hopkins back soon enough.
I think with Rondale Moore coming back and Hopkins coming back, you're going to see Marquise Brown's target share decrease very slightly. I don't think that's relevant, but I think his ADOT comes down. I think he's going to start running a little bit more intermediate targets, and Hopkins is going to take those 1080 deep 50-50 balls with Murray. So I don't know. The targets are still going to be there for Hollywood all year, but I think the ADOT comes down. That's going to affect his fantasy value.
He's had 4 straight games with 10+ targets. Love it. Fantastic. Hopefully it doesn't change a whole lot with Hopkins.
I do want to bring up a point that you brought up earlier. I just ran some numbers here. I was our little analytics guy here for a second. So running backs outscored wide receivers as a whole 814 to 458.
My God. Finally, the running backs are back, baby.
Let's go.
So
about time.
And then I even took it a little bit of a step further. Wide receivers, the top 10 wide receivers scored a combined 239 points, and the top 10 running backs scored 277 points. So 40-point swing there as well. So running back season might be upon us. Maybe it was just one good week. I can pull the numbers on that too.
Yeah, I think this week we'll definitely look back on it maybe as an outlier. It was just a wild week. A lot of points going on everywhere.
I feel like the points were all consolidated amongst certain players.
Dalvin Cook,
for the
Austin
most part,
Eckler, about time those guys are back.
I was looking through when I was doing the fastest 2 minutes, running down everyone's games. The majority of everyone's players didn't do shit, and then everyone had 3 guys go the fuck off. Unless you're RDC 22, he had nobody go off.
Yeah. This next matchup involves JT Company and the Sunshine Squad, and JT and Company had a lot of dudes go off this week. He ended up beating the Sunshine Squad 186 to 137. JT and Company had the second highest points this week, thanks to a few guys. Gabe Davis, 36 points on 3 receptions. Dude only catches touchdowns. He had 2 40-plus yard touchdown bonuses. This is why you have Gabe Davis on your roster. He's very similar to a lot of wide receivers to where he's going to be up and down. But his spike weeks are going to be massive. Huge. This is why you have Gabe Davis, and it's a headache figuring out when he's going to do it, but this is why you have Gabe Davis. He wins you a week. He also had Leonard Fournette go crazy. And
good on JT for having Gabe Davis in there.
Lenny Fournette, 35 points. The stat that sticks out to me is he had 10 receptions on 11 targets for 83 yards and 1 touchdown. Leonard Fournette, my God. Cooper Kupp continues to be good. He's currently the wide receiver 1 on this season. David Montgomery had a good game. He got back pretty quick from that ankle knee issue that he had and was only out for 1 week and came back and had a good game, 18.2 fantasy points. Derek Carr had a fantastic game against the Kansas City Chiefs, 21.9 fantasy points. So that's really what led JT and Company to victory. Even with Jonathan Taylor out and a goose egg from Devonta Parker, he was still the second highest point total of the season.
Yeah.
And the most interesting decision, I like to kind of go through and see who people benched in favor of, and he benched Stafford, which, fantastic. Stafford's been garbage. Find a different option than Stafford. But he plugged in Davis Mills, who put up 5.8 points. Stafford put up 11 points. Props to him for trying to go a different route. There's just simply no confidence in Stafford anymore, in my opinion. But quarterback 2 for JT and Company is no bueno, and I think that's the biggest thing that's holding him back on a week-to-week basis is that second quarterback spot. But on the other side,
That's what's keeping him from slaughtering this entire league right now.
Absolutely.
No one trade this man a quarterback, no matter how good that offer might seem. I mean, you're just digging your own grave.
If only he picked up Geno Smith on waivers. I wonder where he'd be at.
Gee, yes.
Gee, yes. On the other side, the Sunshine Squad had a good week. He lost despite big games from Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara, and Stephon Diggs. They all put up right around 25 points between the two of them, or the three of them. They all had really good weeks. But the problem with Sunshine Squad is he got 29.1 fantasy points from 5 different players. T. Higgins put up a goose egg. George Kittle didn't do nothing. Deontay Johnson didn't do nothing. Devin Singletary didn't do nothing. Corey Davis didn't do a whole lot either. Like, getting less than 30 points from 5 different players, you're going to lose in this league. And I know T. Higgins is still dealing with that ankle sprain that he suffered last week. He had 0 catches Sunday night. He's still considered day-to-day. Long-term, love T. Higgins. Even next week, he'll bounce back. But just brutal, getting so few points from 5 different players.
Nick Chubb is rock fucking solid this year. He is harder than the Sunshine Squad's cock.
Currently RB2. You guys know who's RB1 is currently?
Oh shit! Let me guess.
After 2 weeks of 30+ points,
2 weeks, 30+ points. That's gonna be
Leonard
who
Fournette.
was I just talking about? Yeah, Lenny.
Nope.
Josh Jacobs. No, it's Eckler.
It's Austin Eckler.
So Eckler's done 30
Austin
back-to-back.
Eckler.
Okay.
Dude didn't score any touchdowns the first 3 weeks, and now has 5 touchdowns for the past 2 weeks.
Damn.
And
Eckler things.
And
Let me guess. He's on the Galactic Empire, isn't he?
No.
That's London
The
Bridge,
London
baby. That's
Bridge,
Blair.
baby. Come on.
We'll get to Blair and Austin
The
Eckler and
bridge
how
has
well he
Eckler.
did.
Okay.
But JT and company bounces back from a loss last week. He's 3-2 on the year. That next matchup, the motherfucking War Boys finally getting the win column.
Leading the league in scoring, put some respect on that single win.
Beats out the Joe Mario brothers and beats the War Boys. Beat the projected favorite.
And this is very simple. I should have remembered this last week. I am the Graham Slayer. Graham and I have been playing fantasy football as long as I've known that dude. He might have 2 whole wins against me ever. So it should have been open and shut last week on that outcome.
You do very well against Graham.
Dude, I do. It's wild. It's wild. Last year in the Communist League, we won't go too deep into that, but dude went for 280 something, would have beat, and this was like in the semis or the final, doesn't matter. Dude went for like 280 something, which was dumb, and I said, fuck you, 310.
Yeah, let me give you your props here. You were the best team, highest point total, most efficient manager, biggest blowout, and the overachiever of the week.
That's right.
Who the fuck would have thought? Apparently, you did pick yourself.
I did.
You pick yourself every week, but finally paid off for you.
Yeah,
Good job,
and,
bud.
and let me tell you what really happened here. I finally decided to bench Zeke, and then I introduced 2 rookies. I should have had Olave in last week, but he played in London. We covered that last week. It's fucking bullshit. London games should be banned. Who's playing? Hold on. Alert for everyone. Who's playing in London this week? Who's the London game?
I don't think there's any
There's
more
no
London
more
games.
games.
Was it last week? Okay, good. Yeah, so Olave, I'm really excited about Breece Hall and Olave. Both guys I drafted with the 1 and 4 this year. I am super excited.
Absolutely.
I mean, Olave's eventually going to get a good quarterback on that team, and it's just going to be nasty.
I mean, I think a healthy Winston is still good for him.
So
But
we got
Winston hasn't been very healthy.
one more London game, FYI. It's October 30th, Broncos and Jaguars.
All right, everyone
suck.
hear that? October 30th, London alert, should be banned.
Well, I mean, it's not going to get much better, followed by Seahawks, Tampa Bay, and Germany. And then the final international game in Mexico City.
Germany's not London.
8:15 p.m., Niners and Cardinals.
There is a Mexico City game this year.
That's it.
Have we ever had a Mexico game yet?
Yeah.
Yep.
We had one last year.
Last
didn't we?
year.
Okay, because I just remember
After the
Chiefs
Chiefs got
Rams got
canceled
canceled
previous year.
forever ago.
And then
Yeah,
COVID.
yeah.
COVID hit.
But yeah, no, and you know who's kind of been a stay on my team? The goddamn Cowboys defense. Okay, they're kind of going the fuck off.
Yeah, they're defense 5 right now. 25 points for you.
Getting all those sacks from Micah Parsons.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Parsons is that guy.
I think Micah Parsons and Watt in Pittsburgh show what a game-wrecking D-end linebacker, whatever they decide to call themselves, a game-wrecking pass rusher is game-wrecking. That's why they call it that. It's just absurd. Go look at what Watt was able to do whenever teams are playing Pittsburgh. They're a terrible football team, but this dude's in the QB's face within a second of the ball getting snapped. You can beat anyone.
Did you guys watch that game live? So he injured his groin and then just came in on third downs, and literally the first third down he came in on got a sack on that play. It was just incredible. I mean, that guy is an absolute animal.
Who, Micah?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. He's a freak. I was kind of sleeping on him last year. I thought he might just be going on a little tear, but he's one of the best defensive players in the league and is pretty much single-handedly, I mean, I'll give that INT, I'm going to give that to Micah Parsons. That dude is wrecking shit back there.
All right, let's try and roll through these matchups here a little bit quicker.
War boys!
On the other side of that matchup, the Jamario Bros. Graham, least efficient manager of the week. He had Derrick Henry go off, Mark Andrews go off, Joe Burrow go off, but only had 54.7 fantasy points from his other 8 starters. Had Jacoby Myers on the bench, Carson Wentz on the bench, and what's exciting for the Jamario Bros, I mean, I don't think he would have won regardless of his start-sit decisions, but what's exciting for him is K-Walk. Kenneth Walker, he's currently on his taxi squad. Surely he's going to be elevated and launched into his starting roster spot.
Wink, wink,
sooner
nudge,
than later.
nudge, Graham.
So, yeah, pretty exciting for him with K-Walk coming to fruition here. Currently on a 2-game losing streak, though, so maybe he'll bounce back next week with K-Walk in the fold. But next matchup, we'll get to Blair here, finally, the London Bridge. Currently 4-1. You got 3 wins in a row there, London Bridge. You beat the Ramondosaurus Rex, 152-125. Relatively close game. You had Patrick Mahomes go crazy. You had Jalen Hurts go crazy. You had Austin Eckler go crazy. That's literally all you needed.
That's pretty much it.
That's all you needed. You actually had less than 14 points from every other starter.
That's crazy.
But it doesn't matter. That's all you needed. You've got 3 wins in a row. Really good week there. And Ramondosaurus Rex, Zach, you're on a 4-game losing streak. We got Justin Jefferson going crazy. Ramondre's coming to fruition as well. Devonta Smith had a good week this week, but everybody else just seems like they just don't want to play football.
Yeah, I kind of came into this season knowing, I was shocked that fucking, what's his ass? Not Justin Herbert. He just had a bad week, only scoring 14 points. And I don't have a second quarterback, really. I have Daniel Jones and Marcus Mariota as my 2 other guys for the super flex, and so that's really hurting me. Javonte Williams getting hurt, not having a solid second running back, but even him before he was getting hurt, doing a true 50-50 split is really killing me.
And Penny now too, my goodness.
Penny being hurt, so I'm really going to have to roll with Ramondre and fucking Clyde as my 2 running backs.
I think that Javonte hurts, but I mean, you're definitely dealing with injuries and disappointment from guys like Kyle Pitts, but I remember looking at your team, you've got a good team. It's just crazy how this is shaking out for you.
I have the world's greatest bad team, and I think the reasoning for that is, and we kind of touched on it earlier, is the boom and bust nature of having a receiver heavy team. I mean, Waddle can give you 4 points, or he can get you fucking 40 points, and so when you get that 4-point game and it's a semi-close game like we talked about, it's not good.
Yep.
I also want to talk about, it's a note here, I've tried 3 different kickers, 3 different weeks, and I pick up a kicker on Friday, and they show up on the injury report Sunday, and then just get ruled out.
Yeah, how does that happen? That's the second straight week you had a kicker not play due to injury and put up a goose egg. That's incredibly bad luck.
That's some good old-fashioned.
But, I mean, on the bright side, at least, is...
I do like George Pickens.
George Pickens is on a roll, man.
Back-to-back weeks with 6 receptions on 8 targets. I think he's only going to get better, especially as he builds up that rapport with Kenny Pickett.
And hopefully Garrett Wilson can find his groove again.
Mm-hmm. He's kind of another one. He'll either get you 4 to 5 points, or he'll score 18 to 25 points.
And he's scored 30 points before, so he's done it before.
So I feel like this season's really just going to be a boom or bust type, week to week. I don't think I'm going to make the playoffs, unfortunately.
Are you considering selling anybody?
Probably. I mean, I can see myself selling some of these rookies and maybe trying to get like some second round or first round picks or even some of my second round guy or my second year guys. I mean, I have Waddle there, I have Devontae Smith there, so
it's a really good time to start. Like, a lot of trades are going down in dynasty leagues,
right? And I'm really just kind of waiting for like them to have the really good week, and fantasy owners looking to like, oh shit, like he just scored 38 points. Like I need to get this guy, and so hopefully try and get on a sell high
time.
What would your response be if I said you were going to be in the toilet bowl against RDC 22?
It wouldn't surprise me. I think I would win it, but it wouldn't surprise me if I was in the toilet bowl.
All right. So that is our updated toilet bowl. By the way,
London
I think
Bridge.
You guys are trailing the league in scoring.
Yeah, London Bridge defeats the Ramondosaurus Rex. You're number 2 in the league. Is that right? You're second in the standings, Blair?
Yeah, just trailing behind you.
You're looking good, man. 4-1. That's solid. Next matchup, Arrowhead Chappas take on the Galactic Empire. Chappas, 176. Galactic Empire, 154. It was the narrowest victory of the week of just not so narrow, 22.5 points. Chappas had a lot of things going right for him. Josh Jacobs, second straight 30-point game. He's currently the RB4 on the season. Who would have thought, especially after that Hall of Fame game, getting plugged in when no other starters were. Josh Jacobs looks legit and looks like he could be a top 10 running back for the rest of the season. Devontae Adams did Devontae Adams type things. Dalvin Cook had a 2-touchdown performance. Mike Williams went crazy, getting 134 yards on 10 receptions. Dameon Pierce still does Dameon Pierce things. Tom Brady had a decent game as well. And really the only thing that went wrong for the Arrowhead Chappas is that he got a goose egg from Tyler Conklin and just 4.4 points from J.K. Dobbins.
And he had Lockett on the bench. Like, that would have been another monster contributor
Absolutely.
for the Chappas.
And what was interesting with him and what he did a lot last year as well, and I mean, he obviously he's the defending champ. He won the league last year, and he did this a lot last year, and he did it this week. He had Pierce in his Superflex. He benched Justin Fields, and I think that was a really good move, obviously. Sometimes your quarterback 2 is just that bad. I mean, you don't always have to plug a quarterback in. I mean, we know that they're the highest point scorers. We know that they're the highest point scorers, but shit, at some point, you got to give up on some guys like Justin Fields and plug in a day. Like, absolutely. So, fantastic call on a 2-game winning streak. Really, I'm not sure how Nick feels about it. But
it is what it is. I mean, when you look at his, thus far, his team has looked like a bunch of washed superstars, a bunch of former studs. And this week, when you pop it open, you see Dalvin Cook with 26 points. You'd expect it. Devontae Adams, the dudes that he has, did what you might expect them to do, and that's been kind of the turnaround for the Chappas. So out of the toilet bowl right now, that's Raptors and RDC 22. They bounced back in a good way, but debate me, fight me, Chappas, fight me.
And on the other, Choppers the next Galactic Empire of tight ends? I see Nate's got 4 tight ends on the roster.
Shit.
They're one on the taxi squad. You got Isaiah Likely, Albert O, Okwuegbunam, Dawson Knox, and I think you got Conklin on there too.
Yeah,
Conklin.
That's
Tyler Conklin as well. Good gravy.
I
Nate.
see why
4
he
tight
got
ends.
4. It's hard to pick from those guys.
He just wants everyone to know he's got a really tight end, and he's not a wide receiver, 5th grade humor.
But yeah, on the other side, the Galactic Empire, he had the highest points in loss. That always hurts. 4-touchdown performance from Travis Kelce. Couldn't help Galactic Empire get the dub this week.
Dude, on 25 yards.
I know, man.
Dude, 25 yards, 4 touchdowns. Fuck it.
33.5 points from Trav. CMC had a very good game of 23.4 points for him. And his kicker, 16 points from Daniel Carlson.
Let's go.
That dude, that's a good, damn good kicker to have on your team. He's a kicker 1 on the season, but the biggest factor was Jared Goff and Jamal Williams finally had a back-to-earth game, just 11.46 points between the two of them. And is QB still a problem for the Galactic Empire? I mean,
even though he has 7 of them.
It absolutely
Who did he
is.
drop? Who did he drop? He dropped a quarterback.
He dropped Mitchell Trubisky.
God, what?
Which he's still on the waiver wire.
He's hoarding QBs, and he's got like Matt Ryan and fucking he had Trubisky. What are we doing, Empire?
And I don't know if it would have made too much of a difference. I didn't really pull the numbers, but Galactic Empire had DK on his bench 2 weeks in a row. Pollard had a good game. Etienne had a good game, but don't really blame him for that. But good week from Galactic Empire, just not enough. But God damn it, dude. Stop benching DK Metcalf. Gene, what is it? What do you say?
G-yes.
G-yes is dealing. DK needs to be in the starting lineup. Maybe even Tyler Lockett needs to as well on the other side there for Arrowhead Choppas. But 2-game winning streak for the Choppas. Really rising up there in the rankings. Out of the toilet bowl conversation for now for Nick, which is...
For now.
I don't know how Nick feels about it, but it was a fun week for LOC. Teams put up a ton of points this week outside of RDC 22. But, Nick, do you have your picks ready for this coming week, week 6?
Oh, I sure do. And we're coming off an illustrious week so far. I went 4-1 last week. 4-1. And the Choppas should have lost. They went off, but they should have lost. How is that the one I got wrong?
So you're saying you should have been 5-0?
That's right. That puts me at 13-12 on the year. We're back in the green territory. Quick buzz through. I picked the War Boys to take down Jamario Bros. Correct. Lance Refrigeration taking down Team RDC 22. Correct. JT and Company over the Sunshine Squad. That was correct. London Bridge over the Ramondre Raptors. That was also correct. Galactic Empire. What the fuck are we doing, bro? What the fuck? You'd ruined this whole thing for me. Incorrectly picked the Galactic Empire to beat the Arrowhead Choppas.
All right, quit bragging about yourself. What are your week 6 picks? What's going down this week?
All right, so War Boys are going to take down the London Bridge. This is also going to be my game of the week. The War Boys are rising. The London Bridge has peaked. Trash. They've reached the absolute apex of what that team is capable of, and the War Boys are just getting started. Lance Refrigeration, new projected champion. Lance Refrigeration will take down the Galactic Empire. JT and Company will take down Arrowhead Choppas. JT over Arrowhead. I will pick the Ramondre Raptors. We get an early preview of the Toilet Bowl. Ramondre Raptors will take down Team RDC 22. This will be the game that doesn't get shown on Red Zone. And Sunshine Squad will take down Jamario Bros. Game of the week, like I said, me, Lance Refrigeration, new projected champion.
God
only
damn
undefeated team.
What the hell do you have to do that to me for? I think I'm guaranteed to make the playoffs. Hopefully I have no stumbles in the playoffs.
Yeah, have you already locked that shit at this point? God damn.
It's pretty fucking close, and I think this trend will continue for at least a week or two. But
War
still
Boys
waiting
are
for
rising.
my first loss.
War Boys are rising.
Absolutely. Well, we got the next picks of the weekend. If he didn't pick you to win, throw some shade on Nick. His picks sometimes are usually pretty fucking terrible. He did well last week. We'll see how it shakes out here in week 6.
Per that board back there, it looks like I'm right most of the time.
Right. You finally got a winning record.
You're
here.
right.
13-12.
50% of the time.
I'm right most of the time.
13-12 on
most
the season
of the time
with your Knicks picks of the week.
Most of the time.
Yeah, whatever you say. But I guess that'll conclude this episode of the DNZ Fantasy Football Podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. Keep dropping comments down in the comment section below. We do talk shit on you, even though we're not recording when we see them. But thank you all so much. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. Do whatever you got to do on your socials.
Real quick.
Nick's got something.
We need to get everyone on here. So hit us up if you haven't been on here yet. That is JT and Company, Arrowhead Choppas, RDC 22, and Jamario Bros. We got to get you guys on. Let us know when you're available.
This
is
mandatory.
Get the whole league in here.
Mandatory.
Thank you all so much.
Pretty please.
Fuck off.
Yep. We'll